is to react to, and I'll just end the media section. All right, we go to the reactions. Let's go to the going. Sorry. My bad. Bro. Hey, man. Do the intro? I just did the intro. What you mean, cuh? Dog, you tweaking, cuh? You tweaking, big doll? Big doll. Wow. Why is it so loud? The anime intro chat. Should I do the animation intro? 1 minute. I have to find it. I have to find it. It's not listed as. Shout out the Wiggle ladies, shout out the how do you know today? Yeah. Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be doing media reaction as the video. Let's go to the gun. And not only will we be doing media reaction, we'll be turning on TTS. So guys, better than good boy behavior. Let's go. Classic image, I'm not gonna lie. This is a classic. What's in the background? Chat. Oh, chat, bro. Should I play? Yo.
What the hell? He loudly crying.
Chat, should I play? What the hell? What the hell? Chat, should I play? Oh, this is gonna be a tough one. Should I play Need for Speed and Halo? Yes or no? Should I play those games?
Your issues.
I can play them. I could hook up the Xbox, bro. Chat, I could hook up the Xbox and we could play them. Just saying. Sorry, I got issues. My bad. My bad, bro. Let me just pin this message. YouTube chat. Horsehair! Exclamation mark. Discord. What is that supposed to mean? Over under 5 hours for the thing to load. Under 5 hours. Dang. Son, I'm crying. Der Ike Pen Lig. I don't even know what that means, bro. What does that even mean, bro? Yo, Ducky, I like the new name, bro. It low-key represents you accurately as a moderator and as a human. Yeah, I like the fact that you went as far as to, you know, make sure that you're accurately represented in the server, and yeah. Sorry, that's me. Hi, Mike. What's up? Chill Banana VR. Bro, what's that name? Bro, what's that name? Are you for real? Yeah. I'm for real, man. Hi, Mike. X Stinky. Hello?
Look at how long I've been playing MC on Discord.
Hello? Hello?
Only 41 minutes.
1,196 hours and 6.6. Somebody screenshot that moment. Sean, take a picture of that moment of the time, Tim, and then DM me it. Sorry. No, I don't have to make it. Yeah, I'm trolling. Yeah, you can if you want. Wait, last played August 20th. Yo, am I late? Yeah, bro, you're late. Mods ban this guy.
Yo, am I late?
Action. This is from our moderator, Mike. 9:26. I bet. DM me that. DM me that. DM me that.
9:26.
Chat, don't forget to like and stream. What are they? You know. Action band user at the ducky guy. Reason bullion me. Sad face. He didn't spell
Look at
bullying
how long
right.
Ducky has been playing Minecraft on Discord.
Duration 50 light years. Bro, you've only been playing Minecraft for 53 minutes on Discord. It's not even that long. Chat, see, he's only been playing for like 53 minutes. That's not even that long. Rookie. Noob. Noob, one might even say.
43 minutes goober.
What do you even mean by 50 light years? Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, just screenshot of the same thing. Yo, dude, these things are fun, bro. What is in the background?
Oh, I've been playing for 7
Duh?
hours.
DOH. Duh. Yo. Squidgy. Squidgy. Yeah, squidgy. Nice car seat, though. Is that a Chick-fil-A? That's a Sonic menu?
Bruh. Unmedicated moment.
I'm medicated, though. Chat, do y'all see the Sonic menu in the bottom corner? I see everything. CTE. Okay, bro. Chat, do y'all see that? Literally, Sonic menu. Yo. Of course, Zach would be at Sonic. Nah, chillin'. Love you, Zach.
Is that Sonic the Hedgehog?
Is that
Smash.
Sonic the Hedgehog? Smash! Classic. Classic clip. Holy classic. Chat, y'all wanna see the classic clip Sonic the Hedgehog? YouTube.com. I can't even spell .com correctly. Okay. Why is the first result whenever I search up YouTube.com is Amazon? That's a interesting.
The squish dumpling thing low-key looks fun to play with.
Oh, because I didn't spell it right. YouTube.com. Oh, there it goes. Oh, that makes more sense. Bro, I searched up YouTube.com.
HWAT.
Somebody link me the clip, bro. Somebody link me the clip. Sonic the Hedgehog. Holy cinema. Chat, somebody link me the link. Somebody link me the video, bro. I can't find it. I can't even find it, bro. Miha, somebody link it, please. Jeej. Leak check Twitter, leaked his DMs. Okay, wait, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I don't need it. Chat, it's fine, I don't need it. Fine. I don't need it. It's fine, I get it. Chat doesn't care about me. I'm used to the abuse. It's fine, man. No, man, no. Y'all do y'all's own thing. Sit around. Eat all the burgers y'all eat every day, which is at least 5. Okay, wait, he linked me it. Okay, bro. I'm not sure if I even want to share this now. Holy chat, this is a classic. Everybody hold. 3, 2, 1.
It's blushing too. It's blushing. Got the little hat too, and the little tear on the pants, bro. This is like actually. I'm gonna
I was tweaking.
I
was tweaking.
This is 100% a 9 out of 10. I sent you a friend request, Trey.
Bruh.
You DM me one more time.
Where the moldy cheeks at?
Yo, that is the.
Where's the Sonic the
Sorry.
Hedgehog
Sorry.
part at?
Sorry. Not my. Say I. Fuck some.
Where's the Sonic the Hedgehog part at, bruh? You linked me every part except for the Sonic the Hedgehog part. Bruh!
Start.
Oh, it is at the start?
Chat, y'all know what time it is. Avatar Raid Day. Bro, is that Sonic the Hedgehog? Smash!
Okay. Well, that's the clip, by the way. And that's an old clip, so don't like be
AWH,
trying
you
to
skip what
be trying to
others.
troll me, bro. Don't be trying to like troll me or nothing, or like sue me, you know. Holy moldy cheeks
I
action.
know you said moldy cheeks too.
Aware. I said moldy cheeks. Mike, what are those? Okay, let's see what else.
Smash. GNG loudly cries.
Gangs loudly crying. Bro, I was tweaking, bro. I don't know any other better excuse. Nar nose boop $5
What
one
are those
cheeseburger
images?
pats. How many pats after I do that to buy you? What? That didn't even make. What?
The pigeons.
Whole man disposal service. Yes, the entire man. Son. Son.
SONION.
Sunyon. Nah, dude, I remember when I was there. I would be interested to see by rank what was the most used.
Media react T Sode less than.
Chad, I looked this up, bro. Approximately, because I scrolled. You want to know why I looked this up? Because I was on a YouTube live stream, and it was literally a YouTube live stream, kind of morbid, but it was a live stream of the
Mike
live
Lyman
counter
wanna
of
tickle you.
the deaths and births. I'm not even trolling. People do that for some reason. Mike, I'ma tickle you. Okay. Okay, bro. Literally, that's so weird for somebody to do that, but yeah. So 1.8 persons die every 2 seconds.
At subcomradium_1 back on your laptop GPU, memory, disk were at 100%.
Yeah, everything was at 100% if I opened up Roblox and I played like if I played any game like Rivals, Jeej. How do you die per 1.8 per Oh, how do 1.8 people
Did you
die
know
per second?
papaya
What about the
backwards is
0.2
iPad, and
of the
iPad in
guy?
ancient Greece doesn't mean anything because
Classic.
the word doesn't exist.
Aura. Chad, do I have an aura? Be honest. Yo, shout out to ZF, by the way. I don't know if y'all know that. Bro, ZF be cooking, bro. Low-key, he be cooking, bro. He already at 1 point, bro. He just reached 2K, bro. Literally. He literally just reached 2K. Bro be getting like 100 subs a day. Holy aura. Stop mogging. You look like Peter. Look like your Peter looking chin.
Bob, you missed 4 images of media.
The best way to make sure I remember is basically if you remind me, because I forget easily with all my meetings, EX meetings, very professional. I made that part up. I don't got any meetings. I made it up for dramatic effect. He's right. He's right. He's just casually
Imagine
throwing it
missing
back.
media.
Wait. Mew, again, you look like someone? Yeah, I'm a 19-year-old man with a job working at Chick-fil-A. I gotta lock in, bro.
Bro has no aura.
Has no aura. You look like 11Z Mewing. Who is that?
Ayo, he does not.
Wait, I'm scared. Okay, so this is the guy y'all think I look like. Okay, bro.
OMG, he looks like 11 from STANGERTHING.
So this is the guy y'all think I look like. Why is it the first image, like one of the first image I see? This is what y'all think I look like? Okay, bro.
Yay.
Okay, bro. Or this. Oh, that's my IP. Or this.
11 from Stranger Things.
Or this. Like, bro, bro, chat. Why do y'all just have a stereotype that if I have curly hair, I look like somebody else that has curly hair? Like, it's
11
just so weird.
videos
It makes no sense. Doggy chillin', doggy, 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 doggy. Oh, that's like a fox, actually, I think. What does the fox say? Let me copy this message. German to
That's a Fox GNG.
English. Yeah, I know I'm making him mad. Norwegian to English.
Look at the camera.
I'm only rage bait. It's Norwegian. Bro, it worked. It actually worked. Nah, I'm not gonna lie. Why does the Google Translate not? Wait, there's no Google Hello?
Stinky fart.
Norwegian to English. Chat, y'all wanna see how I spelled Norwegian? This is okay, well, I might be a little messed up. But... Dude, there's no Google Translate no more. Bro, what? Is it in an app? Oh, no, I ain't doing all that. Got me messed up. I guess I'll never know. Bullying premium. No friends. Facts? No friends? Norway, low-key irrelevant country anyways. Retweet. Bro, who even lives in Norway? Like, Mike and a dog, bro.
Exactly like Mike and the dog.
My disc. Oh, that's not that bad. It could be worse. Bro, you have metal running. You have Discord generate. Bro, you have metal running.
Here you go.
Bruh, that's not gonna help your memory. Mifla. Click on the link. Oh wait, actually. Translating? Yes, we love this land as... No, I ain't reading on that. Let me see if I can get something to read this. Got me messed up. You got me messed up, bro.
Yes, we love this land as it rises, furrowed, weather-beaten, over the water with its 1,000 homes. Love it and think of our
Cinema.
father and mother and the legendary night that lowers
Mommy,
dreams on
mommy,
our land.
mommy.
And the legendary night
sorry,
that lowers dreams
I'm
on our
assuming
land.
this is your
Norwegian
national
man and
anthem?
house and cabin. Thank your great
That
God
translates
for the
so
land
bad.
you protect, though it looks
Oh my
all
gosh.
the fathers have fought for, the mothers have
Actual
cried
pack it
for,
up, bro.
the Lord has quietly eased.
Bro,
we
it
won our
actually
rights.
translates so bad
The
there.
Lord has quietly eased.
Norwegian man in cabin and house.
Yes, we love this land as it
Yas
rises,
Quinn.
furrowed,
Dude, that
weather-beaten,
translates so
over
bad.
the water with its 1,000 homes. And as the struggle of our fathers has raised it from need to victory, so shall we, when it is
A duck,
required,
not a queen.
for its peace in camps, so shall we, when it is required, for its peace in camps.
Aura. Bro, the only bad
I
part,
wasn't talking
that's
to
not
you,
even
Stinky.
bad. It's not like bad, it's just bad translation. And it's either on YouTube, it's either on the apps part, or if it's just never was going to translate well. It's this part. Norwegian
What
man
is
in
this
house and
translation?
cabin. I'm sure it translates to something much more beautiful and it makes more sense in Norwegian, but it doesn't even make sense in like what in English, bro. W anthem. Holy aura. Oh my goodness. Chat, now take a screenshot of me reacting to this image, and then take a screenshot of the whole screen. And then take a screenshot of me reacting to the next image, of me reacting to this image, you know. Alright, there you go. What's up, Triangle? What's up, Triangle? How you doing? What happened to Circle? Yeah, I need to pack it up. I need to pack it up, bro. I gotta pack it up, bro. Comrade finding out he's getting round. Literal six pack, by the way. What's up, Triangle? How you doing, man? Norwegian national anthem. I'm not gonna get copyright, am I? Wait, am I? I unironically might get copyright. We're good, right? Nah, it's fine. We're good. Why can't I hear anything? Why can't I hear?
Ain't nobody love Norway loudly crying.
Okay, bro, that's mean. Okay, that's just mean, bro. No, that's too far, bro. No, bro. I love Norway, bro. I don't hate any country, bro, per se. I mean, there's a few. I don't know. I think hate, bro. Mifla. Let's not make this political now.
Ducky deserves that.
What happened to Ducky? But this is actually pretty.
"60-second timeout."
I would take my headset off as respect, but like that I can't hear it, you know? It's sort of like taking your hat off whenever there's a national anthem. Salute? No, it would just be a hand over heart, no? Wouldn't it just be a hand over your heart? I don't think so. No, you typically salute if you're military. I'm not. That's typically what it is. Bro, that was cinema. I'm not gonna lie, that was cinema. You missing even though you don't know Norwegian words, though? I don't know any of the words. It's not that I don't know a Norwegian word. I don't know any of the words. Where's my face cam so crooked? I'm going to start working at maximum velocity at 3 a.m. in the morning and go to the live stream it. Type 1 if you want to see that. Better not. Yeah, I'm going to... A simple thing. I need help. Huh. Holy... Chat, now put an image of me reacting to this image of me reacting to this image. All right, somebody get that. Somebody get that. Somebody get that. Somebody take that screenshot, bro. What am I doing, bro? Is this actually what my streams have devolved to, bro? Chill with the glaze, unexpected W. All right. Throwback to when Cucumber was mod. RIP, bro. I don't know why I said RIP. Yo, what? Yo, what? Okay, bro. Chat, I definitely get copyright if I play this. No way, right? Chat, there's no way I don't, right? I mean, we'll see, I guess. I don't know. It's probably a remix though. No? Oh, geez, it has 408,000 views. Oh, yeah, it's actually over. Oh, yeah, my streaming career is over. Oh, yeah, my streaming career is over. My streaming career is over, Geej. But why is it an hour of this, bro? It's an hour of this guy throwing it back. Okay. Right to the image of me throwing back out of it. Holy aura. Look at that. Look at that beautiful man. There's a surprise somewhere in it. Okay. Is there a no video option? Is there a no video option? I don't need to see this for an hour, bro. All right, of course I'll type in Giat.
Now go back.
Nah, go back. What did I miss, bro? The video just started.
I wish I could like comment.
Do I need to play 0.5 speed? Yeah, Chad. I'm not gonna watch an hour of that, bro.
H is interested.
Why is bro so locked in? Why is he so interested? Bro! Okay, get him out of here, bro. Get him out, bro. Alright, Tyler. Fan art. Got nothing. Clips. We already reacted to that. League. Minecraft. Free games. GTA. Yeah, setup rate. I don't know if I already reacted to this setup, but this is the best. I thought this was the best setup I've ever seen. Although the camera quality is in 420p. Pro has 2 cameras. Holy. He has like 4 soundboards, speakers, 3 monitors, a light. I look-y think you want 2, 1 for each side, but because if you move at all, your light's going to be off-centered to one side of your face, and then it's going to be to the other side. It looks AI. That's what I was thinking, bro. But then he said it's not AI. He literally said it's not AI. That's cap. There's no way. See, there's no way it's not AI, bro. I can't. I don't believe it. There's no way. Check GTA.
Wyatt Loki looks like from Google.
Wyatt Loki looks like from Google. Chat, can we see? Did somebody do like a cross reference and see if you can find this on Google? Like, I don't know if you can search images.
Pinterest.
Chat, see if you can find the image on Google. I'm curious.
Oh shit!
Insta
Roblox.
cusses. 1 minute. Let me preview it. 1 minute. Let me preview it. Yep, it's from the internet. He literally. All right.
Yep, it's from the internet. I found it on Google Bro. I found the setup on Google.
1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it took you 8 shots, point blank.
Section 1.
What?
Keep watching.
Melee player, Daniel. Right, I'm gonna have to climb up here and then this is gonna be a delicate little process.
Everybody.
What are you
Wait.
doing?
Watch one of 11Z video intro and it's totally a normal intro and not weird. Players, I will give you
Whoa.
$100 FRIRLBCZ. I know your location RN.
Okay, bro. How did you fall like that? Wait, you were screaming? I couldn't hear your mic. Your mic. Google search images? Oh yeah, it's literally AI. Oh my goodness, yeah, actually he literally faked it.
Yeah, mic broken for medal.
That's insane. Bro, actually literally said, bruh, bad cam. I deleted the message, but he said it's not AI because he was just spamming. That's insane. Alright, Todd, that was Media Reaction. If you wanted to participate in future Media Reactions, consider joining the Discord. And yeah, !Discord to do that, or it's in the bio. See you guys there.